And welcome back to the Always Be Building Show, sponsored by Dynasty Football Factory Network. I am Stephen Chalmers. As you see, Ryan is not here tonight. It's been a busy 2 weeks for Ryan. Bachelor party, just moved into his new place. He's still getting everything set up. Ryan will be back. But the show goes on. I am here, joined by, let me bring him in, my boy, new writer over at DFF. We got Fantasy Buff. Ross, say what's up to the people, baby.
Hey, what's up, guys? Great to be here. Been looking forward for this kind of opportunity for a long time. Chalmers, I'm glad to be here, brother.
Absolutely.
What's better than talking football?
Yeah, nothing better than talking football. So, over the DFF channel, new writer here, Ross, great content. Just started producing his new article, so please check that out over there. With the Dynasty Football Factory Network, we always like to say we are grown men talking fantasy football and just football in general. We're football addicts, and that's what we do. Over here, content ranges, best ball, redraft, Devy, DFS, Dynasty, you name it, we got it. IDP, rankings, it's all there. So, again, the membership, very, very, very cheap, guys. Let's be honest. $20 a year. Paid monthly comes out to a little under $4. You do the annual, it comes out to like $1.90, $1.69, $1.70. I can't exactly remember the price. It's been a while since I've said this.
You know what I call that, brother?
I call that cheap.
$20 a year, dude. That's can't beat winning prices.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, brother.
Can't beat it. So with that being said, tonight, week 4 recap. I know you missed week 3. Again, life happens. Ryan and I have had a very busy schedule. But tonight, week 4 recap, and we're going to jump into it. We got a pretty major injury to a pretty major wide receiver who's had a significant fantasy impact. Mr. Rashee Rice.
Ooh, hurting my heart.
My heart. My Scott Fish team has Rashee Rice on it. Hurts. Sucks.
Brother, I have a lot of shares of a lot of contenders that have Rashee, and you know how it is. He boosts what you're doing.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about it? I got Rashee Rice in the 10th round of the Scott Fish draft. 10th round.
Oh, wow. Dude, that's also can't beat winning. Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that right there boosts you as a contender all by itself for what he's doing right now.
You know what the most like awkward thing about the injury was? Pat Mahomes injures his own wide receiver.
Yeah, Mahomes is the one that tackled him. Took his leg. Oh, dude, that hyperextension though. Oh,
yeah, it was bad. So with that being said, though,
my bad. Go ahead, bro.
With that being said, it's not a guaranteed ACL tear. I know for a fact that Rashee Rice should not be dropped in leagues right now. Should not be dropped. There's no confirmed ACL tear. I know they said there was a lot of swelling around the knee. I know they said that they need to get more MRIs and things like that. So right now, Rashee Rice is a hold. We're holding our breath until we know the exact diagnosis of the knee injury. But this has to cause for concern for Pat Mahomes because we're now without Hollywood Brown for the season, and we're now without Rashee Rice. Two major benefactors on the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And I'll be honest with you, this is a scary, scary time for the Kansas City Chiefs offense in general.
Yes, it is. I mean, I was already concerned a bit, but I want to touch back on Rashee Rice real quick if it's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as Dynasty goes, man, I can't tell you how many offers I sent out for Rashee Rice. I'm in a few negotiations, but most of them were shot down. Especially if you're a contender would ship him maybe. And you got 2025 lingering also of his suspension. And
yeah, it's a weird time.
Yeah, I also want to speak on that. So Kansas City's best to not throw him on the IR next year going into 2025. Because if he's on the IR, they ain't going to count that as game served. But if they keep him off the IR, he's eligible to play, which makes his games missed accountable. I just think that's important to touch on.
Yeah, it's a weird situation that they lie in. But Rashee Rice has jumped our fantasy wide receiver rankings. Right now, I have him inside my top 10 of the Dynasty wide receivers. He's been an absolute stud for them. He is a consistent target volume guy, consistent go-getter, scoring a lot. I think he's passing the torch from Travis Kelce to Rashee Rice. I love the way they're playing.
No doubt. And dude, his game ain't unlocked yet.
It's not.
He's still doing the slants and the screens. What happens when they start sending him downfield like he did at SMU? You know, he's going to be a playmaker. He hasn't even unlocked his capabilities.
Not yet. So, from a redraft standpoint, I say you have to hold Rashee Rice. From a dynasty standpoint, you're not trading Rashee Rice. You're just not. You're not.
Hopefully you have an IR. I mean, that's common practice for me in leagues.
Yeah, IR is always common practice in most leagues you play in. I haven't played in a league without an IR in a while.
I wouldn't want to. Not the way I manage my rosters.
No.
I mean, that's just
so, like we said with Rashee Rice, guys, we're holding our breath. That's the best way to put it. Holding our breath is the best way, and it's scary, man. Rashee Rice has been a consistent go-getter for me in a lot of leagues, and I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna lie.
He still is go-getter for me, especially when you've seen one of my rebuilding acts I'm pulling off right now. Don't think I won't be I will be getting Rashee Rice wherever I can get him. In Dynasty, I mean, we're talking two different platforms here.
Yeah, but Dynasty, so like with our Dynasty rankings, the big jumps for us have been Nico Collins is the biggest jump. He's the biggest jump for me so far.
No doubt. He has to be.
Right. And then Rashee Rice is my number 2. And then followed by a sleeper name that some people forget.
It's going to be a sleeper, but who I'm thinking about.
Delaware's finest, Mr. Chris Godwin, is one of the biggest Dynasty jumps for me as well.
No doubt. Man, I have him in leagues to where I couldn't sell him in off season. Like, not for nothing. I wanted something close to fair. So use down a little bit. Brother, I'm so thankful for the guys that pushed decline on my trade offers for Godwin. Can I ask you about another riser?
Sure.
I haven't seen it yet, but what are you doing with Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels is a player we're going to cover later on in the 4 o'clock slate games that we're going to talk about. But
do you care if I get spicy then?
Go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I'm worried about my accountability as far as the viewers go and what people think that I think, but I'm pretty sure I could persuade a little bit too.
Shoot.
I mean, I do have a little bit of car salesman. I've never sold a car, but, you know, I'm in Kentucky, man.
Shock the world, baby. Let them know.
We will and deal and pedal down here, man.
Jaden Daniels, QB3 for me currently.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I like to hear. Chalmers, that's great. So who would be quarterback 2 since we're in this right now?
Right now, I've had some mixed reviews on this player. So I've actually dropped Jalen Hurts outside my top 3. It's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. I have Jalen 4, Pat 5.
Chalmers, you want to get I'm about to be a little spicy for you.
Go ahead, buddy.
You know, like it might be, I don't know if it'll. Dude, I would have him second in your rankings. I have Daniels over Lamar Jackson, which I know. I don't think that's too bold.
But it's not bold.
It's the quarterback play, the actual throwing the ball, the passing. I think he possesses what Lamar Jackson has running, which he ain't doing it yet, and it's still a concern of being dangerous. But dude, he throws the ball the way Lamar Jackson dreams that he could.
I agree. I
mean, I think I can make a bold case. See, I thought I was going to be coming in here and looking like I don't know, not a very smart man by saying give me Daniels over Mahomes.
The only reason I don't have that yet, due to Lamar coming off an MVP year, we already know the capability of football. I do know that it was a weak, quote-unquote, MVP year, but Lamar Jackson's following up. He's averaging over 24 fantasy points a game. He is playing lights-out football, so I have to give it when credit is due. Lamar Jackson, I think he stays there for me.
Listen, I get that where the credit is due in the following MVP season, but remember, he had he was an MVP before as well. What happened that next season?
It was bad. It was the nagging injuries. It was the injuries.
That was the first year I ever invested in Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, yeah.
The same season, guess what happened?
Nagging injuries.
But to originally get him, I was trying to make a playoff push, and I traded a struggling T-Law. This is what, 3 years ago? I traded T-Law to acquire him, and it didn't work out, and eventually. You want to remember that offseason? I'm going to tell you that exact trade I made with the guy. Okay, so it was the offseason where Lamar Jackson was asking for a trade. Where, we didn't know if Liz was going to get signed or not. I freaked out and panicked, man. So it was 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I traded. Oh gosh, remember Daniel Jones came off a pretty good year. His only good year. He still wasn't a passer, But what I did is I traded. There was other assets. I got a pretty good little haul out of it, but the pinpoints that made the deal for me was Daniel Jones and a 2025 first. Which now in that league, right now the guy's 1-3 that 2025 first. And I'm also sitting with a quarterback room of Joe Burrow. Who's my other one? I'm trying to think. I'm in so many leagues. I know Kirk Cousins is my third guy. Dude, Josh Allen's my number one there. I have Allen and Burrow.
I mean, you can't complain.
Yeah, and man, you know what it's like going through all these leagues and going back through the history. I wish I could tell you the exact path that got me
Right.
to all three of them, but I mean, imagine me being a somebody that overpays for Joe Burrow.
I mean, you do got the Bengals jacket on.
Yeah, that's homemade too, Chalmers. I made that like 3 weeks ago. I was like, man,
Yeah,
I want something different for Monday Night Football this week.
I like
Oh,
it.
that
I
was
like
so
it.
disappointing.
So, as we continue the injury news, we have CMC, who is now over in Germany visiting a specialist that I have no idea about. Anytime Achilles, anything that says the word Achilles is linked to a running back, I'm out. I'm
Well,
done.
yeah,
We're
but
going.
he's multiplying it. He's going 2 of them.
Right. Yeah. Tendonitis, whatever it is. The word Achilles is in front of it. I'm good. I'm off of it. Jordan Mason, league winner. League winner, waiver wire pickup. It's already happened. He's that guy.
Yep, he definitely is.
And what I love about Jordan Mason, we never seen him get this kind of volume at Georgia Tech. And this is the same thing. Mike Shanahan did it in Denver. Kyle brings back his dad's philosophies. Any running back can thrive in a Shanahan run scheme.
He's a genius, man. He discovered Raheem Mostert. He discovered Wilson. I mean, there was times I remember in redraft where people's like, "Don't touch this guy, don't touch." Then all of a sudden, like, "Hey, this Raheem Mostert guy, let's call him Raheem Must Start."
Yeah. He was solid.
That's what Shanahan gives us, man. You're right.
Exactly. He learned from his dad. His dad did it. I mean, he did have Terrell Davis, but we'll be okay with that.
I mean, what's the odds that Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and there's other guys. I can't. Man, it's been so long. He had so many guys that stepped up in that role and succeeded. There's those other teams. They wouldn't be. They might not be a thing in the NFL if it wasn't for Shanahan.
Agreed. So my question to you is, with this injury, McCaffery, we know his injury history is very extensive. We know that he's a 28-year-old running back approaching the cliff.
Yeah, we keep going. I'll go back to what I was going to say.
Approaching the cliff. What is McCaffery's dynasty value?
Man, I don't see the offer steaming in for him. Nothing that's really grand. You know, if you can get a trade that is actual CMC value from let's talk even last year, I think you jump on it. I mean, I heard some guy talking last week about he'd take a first for him, a single first.
I would too.
I mean, that makes you think, don't it? Like it's crazy.
I would too.
But this ain't the first time for CMC. I think he overcame the injury prone problem, but now you got to think about age, man. You got to know when to buy and sell. You got to know when to move on, and then there's a point also like it makes you think about Derrick Henry and stuff too. Like, is what you're gaining for this guy worth what he can do for you this season as a contender? You know,
yeah.
I feel like it's something I need to improve on. It's like, you know, we got to talk about contenders and rebuilders and stuff. It all matters value wise.
Your team, what you're doing. We'll bring you on that show. We do that show every year.
Yeah, buddy.
So with CMC, Ryan and I always like to put him in his own category that he is a cheat code guy that I'm willing to ride the wave with until it's time to put the cleats on the shelf.
Yeah, he's a unicorn.
He was a unicorn type running back. But right now, Achilles, I'm scared. And I'll be honest with you, I think Jordan Mason is a hold in Dynasty. A lot of people are talking about him. Remember, he's not on a contract next year. He's going to earn a starting job somewhere just based off play this year. He is.
You keep hurting me, Chalmers. Man, I can't tell you. I've sold him in probably 3 leagues. I still have a large share of him. But I sold him in 2 leagues I know of straight up for Trey Benson.
I like Trey Benson. I do.
I can see Trey Benson entering 2025 or as we're into 2025. I think we're talking about him by the end of next year as an RB1.
I like Trey.
I mean, you can see the pathway there too, can't you? That
I can
offense.
see the yeah, I can see the pathway. I can.
People don't
I will.
understand how talented Trey Benson is.
I will be honest with you. The one thing I noticed about Trey Benson's game, indecisiveness. That scares me at the line of scrimmage. There was
Well,
times in the preseason where I saw him hit a hole, make the decision, go, one cut, go. The athleticism is always going to show. He has the athleticism, the burst. He's a great running back. I just need to see the decisiveness. I need him to be
Chalmers.
decisive.
No doubt. But what you saw in the preseason, ain't that more of a reason to probably buy him because you're getting him for a better price? Imagine if Arizona's backup line was better than what it is, and he actually excelled. What if he
Fair enough.
tapped 100 yards rushing and caught a passing touchdown? Dude, you wouldn't be able to touch him right now. No doubt.
No,
Even if he's backup. I think
no.
what the preseason did, running behind such a crappy line, being a rookie, I mean, that stuff takes time to develop in the NFL. I mean, running backs do have success immediately because you run the ball, but
Right.
some of this other stuff takes time to develop. The speed of it. He was getting an offensive line that was one of the worst in the preseason, PFF
Agreed.
grade, all that. So
Agreed.
I think it's more of a reason to buy him because you're up to par with your college game and stuff. You know how good Trey Benson is.
He is. He's a
He's
great
a dual
athlete.
threat weapon.
I
Yep.
agreed.
Yes, sir. Hey, I don't know if it's a good thing to agree so much on podcasts, but man, I mean, this is just your stuff. Trey Benson's
Ryan, Ryan and I typically
certified
agree
good.
a lot. Yeah, Ryan and I typically agree a lot.
Can I
But
mark that as him real quick though? Can I mark that on Trey Benson? He's
yeah,
right now we can call him an uncertified stud.
great.
Now,
Put it on the mark.
now,
Put it on.
now
Put
when
it on
he's
the
top
board.
10, we can certify him.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board, yes, sir.
So next, just a couple of players that are in the midst of returns that we think have fantasy relevancy later on. Two big names for me. One being Jonathan Brooks, running back, Carolina Panthers. The other being tight end TJ Hockenson, Minnesota Vikings. You and I were talking about it pre-podcast. Chuba Hubbard's playing out of his mind.
Yes, he is, man. He's getting opportunities too, and he's doing it behind. I want to say a poor Carolina line, but their line is a lot better than it was last year. But I think
Significant.
saying they're the worst line and they're poor, I think that's just to help out the young controversy. The young truthers. Because guess what? Chuba Hubbard's having no trouble. I can tell you who else ain't. Andy Dalton.
Deontay Johnson.
Oh, this was the best thing for Carolina. I knew it immediately too. I think you did. We all did. Everybody in the fantasy community. If it's prime time, Dalton usually pees his big boy pants. But hey, he's balling right now.
He is.
He's throwing
He
the
is.
ball. He's doing what a quarterback does, man. A veteran
He is.
quarterback.
And so you and I had talked about it. We said post ACL injuries are really hard to gauge running back value, how they're going to perform. We've seen many of running backs. See, I hate to use these examples because I've seen Todd Gurley come back from an ACL tear, ball out.
Oh,
I've seen AP come back from an ACL tear, MVP. I've seen so many running backs come back from this injury and play well. But then in this recent mold, in this era of running backs, we've seen running backs never come back. Javonte Williams has yet to come back.
You're right.
Yet.
But Chuba playing so good gives them time to actually.
Right.
I know you're anticipating the Brooks return, man. There's a chance we might not see him for 3 or 4 weeks. That might be bold and reaching, but if Chuba keeps producing like he is, they have no reason to rush him back. He's their investment, man.
I wouldn't either.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
46 overall pick. I wouldn't rush him back either. But I guess the question to you is, does he have relevancy this season?
No doubt. Yeah, I think he does. He's at least going to give you flashes, but it's not going to be what we want it to be. Because, like I said, I think you might agree. You can't turn away from Chuba at this point if he's playing like he is. Like, you can't say, "Hey, Chuba, Bubba, you got to go with the bench and you got to be our handcuff running back." They don't care about our fantasy lineups. They care that Chuba's doing good and he's producing, and we're going to protect our young guy with him. I mean, do we expect Brooks to even have 10 touches a game when he comes back? Even the first 3 weeks.
Probably.
I mean, it's fun to think you will see that. Like it's that flashy new toy of us for us, man. I just don't see it happening. I think they're going to protect him. If Chuba's running upright, Now, it ain't what's happened, but what Schuber gets hurt. Now we're talking. They're still going to have to protect him, though. So
Yeah,
it's a lot like Dynasty. If you're successful with this, you know you got to have patience. It's just, it boils down to patience. Don't, oh, he sucks. 3 carries, 7 yards, first 2 or 3 games. Dude, you got to be patient. You know what you have there. You should, anyways. And like you said, these injuries take time to recover from. We don't know what he's going to be like.
I
But,
don't.
but
Yeah.
but I think we can agree he's going to come out better next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope
I mean,
so. I
it's
truly hope so.
it's a thing with these kind of injuries, the tears, the Achilles, all that. You're better performing your second year, and we've had plenty of examples. And it started with what, Davante Foreman? Wasn't he the first one that really?
Deontay Foreman is the first one that really broke the Achilles mold for me for a certain stretch of time.
And that man is huge. The added weight and stuff. I feel like he was the outlier of everybody. It should have been. I don't feel like it should have been him. And he ran good. He's a good. I liked it. I still like him. I still like
He
Freeman.
was very good. Very good in Chicago. Very good.
Well, that's another story, another thing. I was saying, well, why ain't Cleveland giving him more touches or looks after what he did? And oh, well, let's go on. Jerome Ford.
So with TJ Hockenson, again, his ACL tear was in December. So, but we are now approaching a time where TJ Hockenson, I'm getting rave reviews out of Minnesota that he's close to returning to a field. He's looking good, running at full speed, cutting, doing things like that. Again, I've tampered my expectations for TJ Hockenson. But the one thing that I love to point out about this, the tight ends have been a wasteland. This tight end group that we thought was going to be great has not been great at all. So
Okay.
we need Hockenson. We need TJ.
Well, listen, I got some good news for you too. Like I know we all see different kinds of news, but he's traveling to London with the team. Have you seen
Yeah, I
that?
saw that. Yes, I saw
So
that.
his first practice is going to be in London. That's how soon he's going to be practicing. I what was it? I think he's expected to get rolled out. I believe. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's week 7 is what they're aiming for.
Yeah, they were aiming for 7, but they said a
Yeah.
possibility of earlier.
Yeah. But you got to think of them too. You can't rush that back, man. Like I wouldn't. Hawk's too valuable. When Hawk went down last year, Chalmers, I'm sure you're aware. What tight end was he in the league?
Tight end 2.
I was thinking it's tight end 1.
Tight end 2.
Okay.
On a point per game basis, tight end 2 behind Laporta.
Porta.
Laporta
I was thinking he was
was
ahead of Porta.
if he was, it was close. But Laporta, because it was like 14.7, 14.5, him, Kelsey, in that range.
But us even talking about it just tells you how valuable Hawk was because of Laporta's
Sure.
year.
Sure.
Laporta had a Gronk rookie season. That's how good it was.
He did.
I guess
Yeah.
this is more for another day too, because we can sit here and touch on this probably for 30 minutes itself.
Yeah. So that's the thing with Hawk. I mean, you're talking about an MVP front runner for a quarterback. You're talking about Justin Jefferson, who everybody was out on Justin Jefferson at value. Everybody said he's not QB proof. What is he going to do? And he's going to prove the world wrong. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the game. You got Jordan Addison to be as a complimentary piece. The offense is fine. Aaron Jones playing out of his mind. Hawk, no need to rush him back. I love these guys, and I think they should be on people's fantasy rosters, especially redraft, but you have to tamper expectations. I think these guys are more playoff valuable assets.
Man, you're sitting talking about redrafting Hawk. If he's on the way, if he's in your free agency, man, I don't see what people's waiting on. Why would you wait? Even 2 or 3 weeks, you got to grab him right now.
Sure.
Even if he
I
takes
agree.
time.
Yeah, he'll be a top priority waiver acquisition when he comes back.
Well, Chalmers,
If he's still
me? You know what he is for me?
He's probably on your IR.
Well, he is too, but he's also somebody I'm trading for.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
I believe we've had this conversation before. Should we wait some other time for that? Because that's a little spicy too.
Yeah. Because I saw Hot go for a second. That was a little crazy to me.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I saw somebody get him for a 25-second.
Brother, I've sent all kinds of leagues and offers in all kinds of leagues, and I've valued every time over a. I mean, there's one league I was negotiating one dude, and I offered him Penix and a late first for 2025, and he turned it down. And he needs a quarterback, and he's in a rebuild. I was like, man,
Right.
Penix got drafted at 7, right? 7th overall. Like, But okay, I thought it was a good offer for him, but he declined it.
Right. So last thing we're going to talk about here, because we'll bring this up. We'll bring up some other topics, but we got Davante Adams trade rumors. Davante Adams supposedly is not playing this week due to a hamstring injury. Don't know how true that is. It's spicy. Davante Adams no longer wants to play in Vegas.
I mean, are you surprised by that though?
No, he wants to win. The window is closing for Davante Adams. He wants a Super Bowl. The Last Dance didn't bring it to him. It's unfortunate. Him and Rodgers couldn't get it done in the playoffs. Sucks.
That chapter ain't done yet. Maybe not.
The chapter might not be done. I do have 3 potential landing spots that I think are honestly realistic. 1 being the Jets. 2 being the Commanders. Big fan of them adding Davante Adams. I think that'd be really cool. And 3rd being the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are in desperate need of a wide receiver. Desperate need of wide receiver help. I think Davante fits that perfectly.
Well, what we know about Pittsburgh too is they're willing to pay for it because they is willing to pay Ayuk. I mean, we're talking about youth and all that too, but they would love to see Davante Adams walking indoors of that locker room. I mean,
I would love it. I would love it.
I'd say you probably would.
I would love it. So that's what we got right now for injury and spicy news. We're gonna jump into the 1 o'clock slate. You
want to leave off Tyreek Hill?
Oh yeah, Tyreek Hill. You wanted to talk about
Tyreek Hill? Something fun to talk about. His tweet he sent out,
yeah, good. Yeah, I forgot about Tyreek Hill. Yep, you're right.
I had some notes wrote down here on about him. I was trying to get to it real quick, but I know I was trying to think exactly what the tweet was he sent, what he said. He said something. I'm hearing wide receivers on the move or something along that line.
Yeah, Tyreek's not happy, and I can't blame him for not being happy. I really can't.
But now at this point though, it would make sense for the Dolphins to move him as well. Like you said, they're fighting a lost season right now. Tua week 8, they ain't gonna survive till week 8 without Tua. Not playoff wise.
No.
You got a receiver in his 30s going like. You don't think McDaniel's sitting here and cussing himself upset about having to? They're thinking about trading Hill. No way around it. Tyreek's gonna be on the move.
Yeah, the only player that I don't think is tradable is probably Jalen Waddle.
You're out there too, because guess what? They're counting on him to be Tyreek Hill, basically.
That's what they are.
Another bye guy since we're doing this. Washington. Is it Malik Washington?
Yes, Malik Washington.
Oh boy, he's got some burners.
He's pretty solid.
And that's what McDaniels likes. You can get him in leagues for a very good price. I've done it. Just a
fourth-round pick. Fourth-round pick.
So tell me, you're drafting Malik Washington, and McDaniels is thinking a step ahead. He's a smart man. You know how good of a coach McDaniels is.
He is. Very good offensive-minded coach.
He has his times, but, man, you know they'll get something nice for Tyreek Hill. I mean, there's no way around that.
Ooh. Especially knowing that he's on a 3-year deal already.
Yep. No, man.
You have the guarantee.
Yep, he has got the guaranteed money. But I think I can actually see him going. Like, I think it's more than rumors. Like, it just makes sense NFL wise. And then they'll still be saving money by getting rid of him, of course.
He led college in receptions last year. Yes, he did. He sure as hell did.
Was it August? Or no, wasn't August. What month was it he signed? He signed that contract, that 3-year extension.
Who, Tyreek?
Yeah.
It was right before. It was like early September. It was a week before the season.
There it is. Yep, September.
So, yeah, as we jump into the 1 o'clock slate, the first game I want to talk about, obviously Denver, New York. I want to talk about this game just due to the sole fact that this was an 8.5-point spread game. Huge upset of the week, obviously. So, with Denver, the first question that I like to talk about, how are you losing in total yardage, time of possession, first downs, and how do you lose the game? Or how do you win the game in that aspect if you're Denver? I think it was one of the worst games I've ever seen. I think Bo Nix played terribly. I think the whole offense played terribly.
Well, it wasn't a fun game to watch if you don't like a defense that shuts somebody down.
Yeah, I love defense.
Yeah, defense is what won that game, and it's going to win games for Denver. That's the thing. Like, Nix don't even have to be nothing special to get this done. His defense carried him. Sean Payton even said it. He told us, the world, defense did this. You know, they were solid. They're looking like they're better defense than I think the world was expecting. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Man.
So my question with that, because we talked about this pre-podcast as well, What is going on with this offense? That they don't seem to be on the same page here. But when you have a QB like Aaron Rodgers, you have to play to who Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best QBs to ever step on the gridiron. You have to adjust to him. Because he's not going to adjust to you. He's just not. So with that being said, Garrett Wilson with that tweet, he's not excited to be there. He's not excited about his situation right now. He's talking about it's a very bland offense. We do a lot of the same things. There's no creativity.
We don't do nothing different, and that's to be honest, is what he said. To be
Right.
honest.
Right. And then my biggest gripe from this offense right now, I have Brees Hall as my dynasty running back one going into the season. And Braylon Allen each week has cut into his workload. Braylon Allen has earned a role on this team. He is a good running back. He is.
Dude, he's the youngest too, and he looks like a stud. He looks like a man horse.
He's a stud.
Yeah, dude, the people's bounces off of him. But the thing is, he didn't do it in college. Not like he is in the NFL. You're the college guru. You know what I'm talking about.
He was a stud. He was a stud. He was stud in the Big Ten, but he didn't create yards after the contact.
Exactly. He was a teddy bear stud. There you go. A teddy bear stud. That's not what he is in New York right now.
What I'm most impressed with about his game is the receiving profile that I never saw.
Dude, no doubt.
That's impressive.
And listening to all the analysts and everything break this down going during the draft process, that was one of the knocks. They didn't pass to him. But he's killing it. He's crushing it. He's showing us he can.
He is.
Okay.
And I don't go ahead. And this is what gets me, because you guys in the city of New York have not had a quarterback take you to a playoff game except for Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez is the last time the Jets saw a playoff game. You get Aaron Rodgers. And I know the Achilles injury sucks, but you get Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the New York media too. They want now, but you got to think about Rodgers. Here's my stance on. I think they're okay, and I think they're going to be fine, even after that game against Denver. Listen, this is his first season really with the Jets. He wasn't even invested after he got hurt last year. He was just focused on recovering and getting back on the field. He wasn't in there doing the locker room stuff and watching videos and tape and practicing. Dude, and I'm pro sell Garrett Wilson if you can get Garrett Wilson value before this streak right here. A lot of people selling low on him right now. Don't do that. I say let's give it another month. Let the chemistry between him and Rodgers mesh. Like, you know as much like we're talking about Davante Adams. Look, Allen Lazard's a perfect example. Rodgers has never liked a rookie wide receiver. It took time throughout the year for it to happen. I'm not calling Garrett Wilson a rookie, but I'm calling his and Aaron Rodgers' fling. I'm calling it the newlywed. Let them guys get to know each other when things get going bad and everything, and let him know what she likes to eat, where she likes to go, what kind of clothes he can buy her. You see what I'm saying though? You gotta let him gel the chemistry. Dude, Garrett Wilson's going to get his when he does. And also, as we talked about, the scenario of bringing Davante Adams in. Oh, my gosh. Dude, I think you're creating a monster. The monster of Davante Adams and the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to lose targets. But that ain't a bad thing. It's not all. It's what I call not all targets created equal. Dude, you're going to have so much. Garrett Wilson will have freedom.
See, the thing about Garrett Wilson is, man, he falls in line of these Ohio State wide receivers that just come out and ball. What Brian Hartline and them do over there, they're a wide receiver factory. He's another talented elite wide receiver. A lot of people are worried, and I'm not for that fact. I know how good Garrett Wilson is. We all know how good Garrett Wilson is. We've seen him play in the league. He's thrived in the league. I'm not worried. I'm not.
I think you saw a conversation I had somebody, dude. I still say it. Dude, he ain't done it, and he ain't been doing it. Consistency, had quarterbacks. Dude, we're talking about JJ upside. That's a reach. But that's what Garrett Wilson has in him, the player he is. He could take over a ball game if he has somebody guarding the ball.
He is. And he's already his target getter. He's already leading the team in targets. He's leading the team in catches. He's leading the team in receiving yards. It's just the chemistry. It's like you said, it hasn't clicked.
Well, it's
We're
like that
almost
marriage, you know. You gotta know your wife's hot spot. You gotta know where to hit and get it to make her happy. You know, that's what we're doing with
yeah,
Garrett Wilson.
yeah.
We're wanting to find, I don't know, like what's language in PG, and I'm a big Christian goer, but I was gonna say, look, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, so we're trying to find Garrett Wilson's I better not say it. We're trying to find his G spot, let's say, or something.
True, true. But we're good. We're good. Don't panic on Garrett Wilson.
Exactly. I love it, Chalmers.
The second game,
Too much
second
agreement.
game we got on the slate. We got the Vikings and the Packers. First off, I want to say welcome back. First
You
off,
go
I
ahead and
want to
talk.
say
I'm
welcome
thinking it.
back, Jordan. Yeah, welcome back, Jordan Love, man. Welcome back. I honestly thought week 1 that your season was over.
Well, it didn't look so good when he was out there at the beginning of the game passing to Minnesota in that first half.
Right. Hey, fair enough. Like I said, Minnesota's defense, Brian Flores, congratulations. You have done your thing. You have turned around a defense that was supposed to be middle of the pack, and they're playing ball. They're playing ball.
Yes, they are. And it's because of them playing ball that Aaron Rodgers thrown them to him like he did. For fantasy world, it was the fantasy gods touching the Love owners because that's what set him up to go nuclear.
So with Jordan Love, like I said, welcome back. I thought your knee injury was a season-ending knee injury. Welcome back to the field, man. Congratulations. You and Dontavian Wicks did your thing. Great week from you. I know the 3 picks. I know we want to talk about that, but you know what? I'm just glad to see you on an NFL field. You are a $250 million investment, and congratulations. But next question. Is Sam Darnold the MVP frontrunner?
Spicy. Oh, dude, you're not going to get an argument from me on it. I'm pro Darnold. I've made no. Like, I accidentally become pro Darnold. I like Darnold going into the season already, but now it's like, man, I already liked the guy and I was on him and acquiring him, but now it's like, dude, he's overshooting expectations. He's doing what a young Kurt Warner did. I mean, that's a fun comparison, ain't it?
It's a great comparison.
Quarterback loses his job, and guess what? Somebody's riding out in the sunset, the funnest show on turf or something like that. Man, what can we call Darnold? The funnest show on ice?
Josh Allen. Chris says Josh Allen is lapping the field for MVP. So I had this same take until the Baltimore game.
Exactly.
I really did. I had the same take until the Baltimore game. Sam Darnold's playing lights out ball, man. The Minnesota Vikings are playing lights out ball.
And Allen's been so game dependent. I don't know. Just their whole offense in general has. I mean, I know you say it for almost every team, but man, it's like he didn't have to 2 weeks ago. James Cook stole the show. They let the clock control the game. Like, you know, people's panicking over Kincaid because of that game. But it wasn't a Kincaid game. It was a James Cook game. But yeah, and that's one game right there. Then we're talking about 2 of the 4 games. Dude, they got shut out. Baltimore stopped anything they was trying to do. I mean, Baltimore looked like the best team in the league at night by far.
Agreed.
And that's just defensive side of the ball.
But I do want to say this. I do want to say one thing about Josh Allen before I continue. The biggest gripe I had on Josh Allen 2 years ago were the uncostly turnovers, especially in the red zone. But Josh Allen has cleaned that up. And I'm not going to lie to you. Josh Allen is playing MVP level football.
That's the story of Josh Allen's career. Cleaning it up. You know, no, he does it. He gets better every year. Okay. Somebody was talking about, I know this is going off from one thing to another. Somebody was asking me about selling Anthony Richardson. All right. If you can get Anthony Richardson value, I get it. But a lot of people are selling low on Anthony Richardson right now. You know, go ask that Josh Allen owner that sold him for a first plus something else little, how that worked out for him when he was Anthony Richardson. Hot take.
I also agree with Chris. It's a Kevin O'Connell thing. No disagreement.
No doubt.
No disagreement. You're not wrong.
Mullins had his moments last year where he was shining with O'Connell.
That's what he said. Nick Mullins threw for 400 yards twice last year, which he did.
Yeah.
He did.
But he threw a lot of interceptions, and he looked bad doing it. Dude, Darnold don't. Darnold's looking like a king. I mean, I'm sure we're going to have plenty more opportunities to talk about this, the JJ effect of it.
We are.
Oh,
and
boy.
Like I said, we've only seen Addison on the field for one game outside of last week. Addison had that ankle injury. Now Addison's back. We're talking about TJ coming back. Aaron Jones playing some of the best ball of his career. Aaron Jones is another veteran running back that we could have bought in the offseason for a second, and he's a league winner.
Had Naylor throbbing.
Yeah, Naylor as well.
Naylor, yeah. Now you get the better player. It's Addison to get his place back instead of Naylor, and look what happens. Tell me that Sam Darnold wasn't happy to see Addison playing in that lineup.
Agreed. Now, this is the last question that I wanted to ask you before we move on to the third game. Do the Vikings extend Darnold, and what happens with JJ? That's a note that you and I had talked about. So I'm going to be honest.
I'll be honest, too.
If Sam Darnold continues this pace of play, they win the NFC North, which obviously none of us thought they were going to win the NFC North. It's the Lions' division to lose. But if they somehow pull this bitch off and he takes them to an NFC championship game, yeah, he's getting extended. He is.
Listen, I'm not even so sure that's what it's going to take. I mean, I was in my article and stuff you wrote, but I'm not even so. What if he don't go? What if they get bumped out in the division playoff or something like it's? But if he took them there and he done so great, okay. With JJ, Minnesota loves JJ McCarthy. That's no doubt. But the thing is, they're only hoping that JJ will do what Darnold is right now. What if did the Rams get rid of Kurt Warner? Did Kansas City get rid of Rich Gannon? Did New England get rid of Tom Brady? Why? I mean, we say the same thing about Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. You got the guy succeeding, taking you places that you want to go and that you thrive on as a franchise. No, you sign him. You sign him and you deal with JJ later. I mean, do you really want to leave?
I mean, you have 5. I'm going to say realistically with JJ, you have 5 years of control.
Yeah.
You got time.
But you also got to worry about the fans in your ear, too, inside that stadium.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If they're winning games, I don't think their fans are going to be chirping too much.
No, I don't either, man. I think you're about to see a lot more of a Sam Darnold jersey sales than what we're seeing right now. And I bet that's overwhelming.
I'm a big fan of what Darnold's doing, man. I really am.
Me too, man. Like, it's a Cinderella story, too. It's just everything baked into it. But Darnold's always been good. He's always had that arm. You know, everybody wants to knock him for the processing in New York. Dude, nobody can process nothing in New York. You know, it ain't, the media, it ain't even the media that's putting pressure on you because it is. But, dude, there was no protection for him there. Nothing. No weapons. He had nothing when he was with the Jets as a rookie. He stood no chance. You know what they did? They Bryce Young'd him. That's what New York did to him.
They Bryce Young'd him.
They did. They did.
I mean, we see the same thing with Geno and his time in New York as well.
Yeah. And shame on Carolina. Same way with them. There's a reason these teams keep picking the top of the draft order every year for multiple reasons. But Carolina, dude, he showed flashes in Carolina. And he had no offensive line there either. And the coaching, the ownership, they're a hot mess. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Carolina fans, but goodness gracious. Listen, I grew up as a Bengals fan through the 90s. I get it. I've been there.
So, speaking of the Bengals, we're going to jump into the third game of the slate. We got the Bengals and the Panthers. I want to start this off because I want to talk about one thing that I've noticed. Well, welcome back, Jamar Chase. We've seen 2 big games from Jamar Chase. I know the contract controversy is going on. I know he's not very happy. I know you guys don't know exactly what's going on with T. Higgins, and I don't foresee him being a Bengal long term.
Yeah, we know what's going on with him.
It's unfortunate.
It is. But we've been talking about it since last year.
I want to talk about the running back splits, man. I think Zach Moss and Chase Brown have been, they haven't, obviously you missed Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon is a Bengals staple, but I think they've been serviceable. I think they've been very, very solid in the roles they're asked to produce in.
And they're growing into the roles. Like, like you said, you lost a lot when you lost Mixon, man. Like locker room wise, and he needs more credit than what everybody gave him. They talk about inefficient. Well, there's reasons that he was inefficient, I'm sure of. And he's always playing nagging injuries. Always. That was just – how often do you remember having Mixon as an owner and he wasn't going into a game questionable? I mean, that's just all for real. Like, he got beat up in Cincinnati because he was a bell cow back. That's what happens. Right. Especially, these seasons, it's a grind, man. This is a very, very aggressive game.
It was. Especially when Mixon first came into the game. I remember how talented Mixon was in college. He had the little scuffle out there in Oklahoma. Sucks. And then he was a first round talent running back. He was. And
most definitely.
He was everything that Cincinnati wanted and more. He produced, man, multiple running back one seasons, came into a receiving role that I never thought he'd have. And dude, he blew me out the water in
Dude,
that. He was
he crushed it.
he
Yeah.
crushed it.
Well, and here we go. Like, man, I was sort of hoping that Zach Taylor, because ever since he's been the head coach, he's had Joe Mixon as a bell cow back. A lot of people was wondering how this share was going to go, and the money said Moss was going to be that guy, but I think that's who John or that's who Zach Taylor wants to be the guy is. I think he wants Moss to be the guy. But the problem is Brown's so good. Brown's so explosive. He's so fast. You've seen the difference in the game against Carolina. I know if you watched it, you knew, like, wow, like, why does he keep giving the ball? There would be, dude, as a Bengals fan, I can't stand Zach Taylor. If he hadn't went to that Super Bowl, I think he might be already out. The guy, he tries to control the clock. No sense of urgency. He tries to control the clock when they're down by multiple scores late in the ball game. Like, I don't know if you watched Week 1 or not against the Patriots. It's a joke. Zach Taylor, why are we trying to run the ball 2 out of the first 3 downs when we're down 14 in the third, halfway through the third? I mean, it's just like I can see right now the whole rule saying, hey, give Brown the ball. Let Brown be the running back. Let's watch him shine. But that just ain't going to happen in Cincinnati. That's not Zach Taylor. He's already picked. He picked Moss as a guy he wants to be his heavy workhorse guy. Like, not heavy workhorse, not workload, but like you saw in the game, who was they grinded the clock down with in the fourth?
Zach Moss.
Like he wasn't worried. I don't think Taylor was even worried about getting first downs. He was just worried about plodding the clock down a little bit. Because, dude, put Chase Brown the ball, told him not to drop the ball, and let him break a few first downs because he was doing it. But they went to Zach Moss.
Yeah, the thing with Chase Brown, I know in today's game, size is a whole another ball game, but he just
Oh,
doesn't
I'm
project.
loving you right now. I'm loving
He,
you right now. Continue. I know
he
where you're
just
going.
doesn't project as a workhorse running back. Chase Brown doesn't,
And that's
and
what he was.
that's Zach Moss's game. That's just who he is. He's a grinder. He's a guy I feel like you could give him the ball 15, 20 times a game. But Chase Brown, with his explosiveness, these guys are just coming into the league and they're changing the way that we view running backs.
Well, Chalmers, you're also the college guru here. Dude, Brown was a workhorse back in college.
He was.
I know,
He was.
we're talking about it's a different game and but dude, why not give him the chance to do it in Cincinnati? I think he might get that chance sooner or later. But, dude, I think he's capable of it.
And the last thing I want to talk about as the Bengals owners, like the fans here, I know you're a big Bengals fan. So the
Yeah.
first week, I know the game against New England wasn't what you expected.
Hey, I was there, man. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, but honestly, you guys, people forget to mention this. You guys left 14 points on the board. You
Oh,
had the
no
drop.
doubt. Tanner
That's what
Hudson dropping the ball on 2-yard line?
right. You had the Ilyasova like drop catch on the 40-yard scramble rollout. But
Yoshi. Yep.
but what I'm saying about this is a lot of people are worried about Joe Burrow, and I'm not. I thought Joe Burrow has played phenomenal football. Are you worried about the wrist injury?
No, man. And that's what people keep talking about. It's like they're making excuses for him. I said, I tell you what my excuse can be. Go look at the past 4 seasons and look at their record to start the season, their first 4 games. Come on now. Quit making excuses. Quit. Dude, this is Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor. This is, man, you don't get me going on Zach Taylor. Dude, it's like he still has Burrow on the rookie tit. He done this. He does it every year. He does not. They have an offense, a high power, high flying offense. Zach Taylor keeps him contained for the first 4 weeks for whatever reason. It's like week 4, week 5 comes rolling around. Everybody's like, "What's going on? Fireworks in Cincinnati. You can't stop Chase. You can't stop Higgins. What's going on?" I know you're going to talk about Eric All too. So let's.
I do like Eric Cole.
Yeah, my heart on guys, man. That's for.
I'm also a big fan of Mike Gesicki. I'm a Penn
Oh,
State guy.
no doubt. And he's Burrow's always targeted the tight ends, but not as much as I don't think as he wants to, because he's never had that talent. Dude, you got Gesicki and Eric All right now. Burrow's never had this type of a tight end room. Never. And they're getting used. Both of them's been used, and both of them's been used for a reason. I know Gesicki didn't have such a good game against Carolina, but guess what? All did, man. Oh boy, if that boy can stay healthy, I am excited.
Me too.
Listen, like I said, I even have that one league I was telling you about. I have an early second. Man. I think I'm 3-1, but my team's weak, and I can see them. They're young. I can see it being an early second, and I didn't hesitate to send that today for Eric All. I did. I didn't like it at first. because I was expecting more of a third and Yoshi, like Yoshi Voss. That's who I was trying to get for Eric All. I offered Yoshi because he didn't have a very good wide receiver room, and his old also. So I offered him Yoshi straight up for Eric All, and he has Conklin, he has Bowers. This guy had a loaded tight end room, and he turned it down. I was like, man, dude, what is wrong with you? You need this young wide receiver. And he's like, oh, you got to throw a second on top of it. I was like, oh my gosh, you're nuts. It's like, I'm not.
Chris also says, buy Eric All. You're 100% right.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you are. Like I said, what's going to stop him? An injury? Because if he keep his row's growing every week, he's getting the targets, the volume. I mean, hopefully it keeps. Yeah. Hopefully that volume keeps coming, just like somebody else that ain't this game. We'll talk about, I'm sure, but Drake London.
Yeah, lastly, I know we've already discussed Andy Dalton and Chuba a lot. So the last person I want to discuss in this game, Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson for the Carolina Panthers.
What, is Leggett that ugly girl in the room you don't want nothing to do with?
I was a big fan of Leggett. I know. Welcome to the NFL. Congrats on your first NFL touchdown.
Actually, dude, everybody's bragging about Leggett and the production he had, dude. It was ugly. He had 2 key drops. He played like a rookie. He played like a rookie is what happened. But he had a good game statistically playing like a rookie.
He did. And I just want to say congrats on your first NFL touchdown. Welcome to the league.
Yeah, man. Leggett, yes, sir. And he did look, like I said, he had a bad game, but it was still, he looked good. He looked good looking bad. Like I said, we're talking about girls and bars and wives. He was that drunk girl from the bar.
That's impressive, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. It truly is. All right, let's let you talk about Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, so this was a wide receiver buy for a lot of us in the fantasy community. We're talking about a target hog who's been a top 10 wide receiver overall finisher in the Steelers offense. We've seen multiple 140 plus target seasons for Deontay Johnson. We know what kind of volume he can possess. He's a stud. He's one of the best route runners in the game, separators in the game. It's just what he does.
He proved it.
He did. And at that time, you know, Pittsburgh, we were taking a whole nother route for the offensive side of the ball. Philosophies didn't really fit his game.
Dude, Davante Adams would look bad if he had, Kenny Pickett throwing him the ball.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Pretty rough. But Andy Dalton and him have clicked these last 2 weeks. They've seemed to unlock something that Deontay has always possessed. And it's just been really fun to watch, man. I just want to, you know, shout out Deontay Johnson and all the fantasy owners that may not have panicked with Bryce Young at quarterback, because now you're going to reap some benefits here. Deontay Johnson is that guy.
Oh, Bryce Young. That's another day, I guess, too.
Deontay Johnson. I'm a big.
Dude, we're talking about a wide receiver one. Wide receiver one, Deontay Johnson. Because since Dalton's been in the lineup, that's what he is.
He is.
We're 2 for 2 here. I mean,
he is. He's
quit
special.
devaluing Deontay Johnson. If somebody's devaluing Deontay Johnson, you buy him, and you don't think about it. Because it ain't going to cost you. He's going to be worth more than what you're paying, more than likely.
Sure.
That's how I think of that.
Sure.
So I'll think about that.
Yeah. In the last game on the 1 o'clock slate, we got the Steelers and the Colts. So I want to say this. The one question I had was, what can Justin Fields do when we're playing behind in games? And I'll be honest, I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
I knew he was going to say that.
I was.
He was playing like a quarterback.
He was playing like a quarterback.
Dude, in Chicago, he had no line at all. I mean, and I'm not talking up for Pittsburgh or nothing, but dude, the game script for him in Chicago was run. And dude, they didn't have the coaching. It's another one of these organizations. You wonder why they keep picking in the top each year. Dude, that's another Thomas too. They need that offensive coordinator out of there. If they want Caleb to succeed, what's happening ain't gonna work. There's certain. Oh, like I said, another day. Let's go. I can go from one thing to another. Pivot. But yeah, Fields did great. Fields, especially fantasy wise, and Tomlin's obviously going to stick with him now. Like why would you want to see Russell Wilson right now? I mean, that's my worst hated player in the league, probably.
I don't at all. The thing about Fields, that game wasn't lost on Justin Fields' back. That game was a terribly, terribly called game, terribly ref game, huge DPI on Minkah Fitzpatrick late in the game, set them up for a late score in that game. It was just a game we should have won that game. It's unfortunate we are on the road, and now we get Dallas at home. But I was so impressed with how Fields played as a quarterback. George Pickens and him look great. George Pickens is that guy as well. Big,
yeah, man. He's man. If you didn't do it last week before you had the chance, you still might be able to have that chance right now. Also, with the narrative of Justin Fields throwing the ball. I mean,
yeah. So with Fields, we all remember him and DJ Moore. Instant connection, instant link, instant click. A guy that was pushing north of 28% on the target share. Guess who's doing the same thing? George Pickens. 31% target share.
Like you said, he is that guy, and he's not getting acknowledged for that. It's like it makes me think of Roman Reigns, like Carl or Pickens just needs to stand up and say, "Hey, acknowledge me. I am he," and you're right on that.
Right. And another guy, very low, very underrated guy, Pat Freiermuth. So I know we saw a 57 and touchdown game the other day, highest target share. But overall, Muth is consistently averaging 5 catches a game, having a very, very solid season foundationally for the tight end position. We talked about the tight end wasteland that is the tight end position right now.
But are you surprised from Arthur Smith? That's the thing. Like people's Alan Najee too. I get it, but guys, you got to understand Arthur Smith, what he does. I mean, Pat Freiermuth fits Arthur Smith a lot better than what Kyle Pitts did. Oh, that's another conversation. Let's don't do that right now.
I agree. And then the last thing about this game, Anthony Richardson might not be that guy.
He might not be. But are you selling him as not that guy, or are you going to sell him for that guy? That's what I was talking about earlier. You don't sell him. You don't sell him unless you get that guy price. Not me, anyways. Not me.
No, I mean you can't because we're under 4 years control with the ability to move after the 5th. We're in year 2, so we still have 2 years of a window. But if the window continues to look this bad, there becomes you have to have that talk with yourself. Like maybe my process was wrong.
And Chalmers, I'm going to come out from the closet right now. I'm coming out of the closet here. I've thought that too about him. But you know what? I also got to stick to what I've seen and what I know, like history. That's why I was trying to make the Josh Allen comp. I'm not calling Anthony Richardson Josh Allen, but their path was very similar. Their play was somewhat similar. Like, dude, there was people freaking out about Josh Allen and was underselling him. Like, I'd say probably even, matter of fact, 70% of leagues probably? Just taking a guess?
Probably.
And then guess what? I mean, the dude come out and he learned a few things. That's what these coaches are supposed to do, is to teach these guys. And Richardson does have a coach that can do that.
That's what Shane was supposed to be for him.
Yeah. But he's still a kid, man. That's another thing.
Yes.
Like, I get selling, getting up, and he might not be it, man, because his passing hasn't been very impressive at all. And you can't help to worry when you see him run the ball. Like, you're wanting to see him get these big plays, but I mean, you see what's happening when he is coming up these big plays, running the ball.
Yeah, and lastly, I didn't like how the medical staff really handled that situation.
I knew he was going to say that. Put the guy back in, let him run at the next play.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me. I mean, I know he's 6'5", 250. I get it, but
there's no way you throw him out there this week either. I don't care if he says he can go or if your coaching staff says he's good to go. Dude, you got to give him 2 weeks at least. You drafted him. Don't kill his career already. I mean, look what happened last year.
I agree.
But it's a lot different. They was very reckless with him Sunday, and I think throwing him out there this weekend is very reckless, especially after you've seen what Flacco did. Or are you worried that everybody's been wanting Flacco in there rather than AR? So you keep AR in there.
Well, I think we saw Flacco magic. We saw Gardner Minshew magic last year.
Yeah,
and we saw Flacco magic last year. We've seen these guys thrive. I think they have a great offense. I do.
Flacco is what he is. He's a capable quarterback. He's a former Super Bowl MVP. He's been there, done that, which I never was a Flacco truther, but I like Flacco in the play area he is this later stage of his career than what I did his younger stage of career. He's smarter now, man.
Huh? He is. I just hate Joe Flacco.
I mean, you were talking about that earlier. How insane is it? We'll get to Miami, won't we?
Yeah, we will get to Miami.
But how irresponsible of their GM, and you might even be able to point at Mike McDaniels here, but say, why didn't you have a backup quarterback? You have Jameis Winston, Sam Darnold, Flacco, and there's other guys. Like, I think we could say Tannehill would be a better fit than what's going on now in Miami. Bring Tannehill back. I don't know if that's a reach or not, because we think Tannehill how gross, but guess what? He's going to at least control the game. I think he'd be capable of doing what McDaniels wants him to do.
It's possible. I saw a picture of Tannehill on the beach with his family. I don't know if he wants to play football.
Well, now he said he doesn't, but he wants to start and roll. But and that's what Miami wasn't offering him, because you still got Tua lingering. He wants to start, and he wants to go to the playoffs as a starter. Which, I mean, come on, he's got to realize where he's at. But at the same time, there's going to be more quarterback injuries.
There are.
I mean, yeah. So that's an interesting flyer. I've took it in several leagues. I have Tannehill sitting on my roster, and I don't like Tannehill. I know it's disgusting, but dude, it gets gross in Dynasty, especially Superflex.
It does. I have Jameis Winston.
Last year.
I have Jameis Winston in the league.
Yeah, dude, I love Jameis Winston shares because, dude, and that's another talking point. Nobody's acknowledging that. The Winston dilemma. What could happen this season? Like, it's like I feel like that went under the radar when it was reported. He has another accuser, man. And this is what Cleveland wants. Dude, yes, it is. They can get out of the contract. It's in the contract. They can get out of Deshaun Watson if he has legal trouble with this. Tell me that they ain't wanting that.
It's probably the worst contract I've ever seen.
It is. And Cleveland might have an out.
They might. So we're going to hit the 4 p.m. slate. We got the Commanders and we got the Cardinals. We got the Commanders and the Cardinals.
Oh, boy.
So, just know I think you turned your camera off.
Oh, did it go off?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me bring it up here.
So,
see what
Commanders.
I did here, Chalmers. Let me know if am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
All right, started freaking me out, man.
So, with the Commanders, the big things that I want to point out, Brian Robinson is a running back one. Brian Robinson has played lights out football. He's played exceptional football. And Jaden Daniels is legit.
Yeah, he's legit. He. You're talking about Pickens being that guy. I want to say Jaden Daniels is that guy. And I wasn't. I didn't think Jaden Daniels. I was anti Jaden Daniels, man. I was trading him for way too low a value, but yeah, he's that guy.
The thing that scared me about Jaden Daniels was when we were processing the tape. If I was processing the tape at Arizona State,
he's dangerous.
What was he at Arizona State? Then we go to the LSU tape. Stud.
Yeah, man. There didn't he have? Oh gosh, come on, what's his name? Herm Edwards. Wasn't Herm Edwards with him in Arizona?
Herm Edwards was his advisor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arizona State. Yeah. And then the last thing I want to say about him was the body frame and the sizing. Would he be able to withstand NFL contact? He had to become a smarter runner.
Well, but it's not even that. It's just that he's reckless, and that's proven. It's on the tape. Could he adapt to the NFL with his reckless running? Dude, he's doing it pretty good.
He is. He looks great. So, Washington, congratulations. You got your savior.
Man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, dude. As long as you can avoid the RG3, what happened there? But he's better than RG3. He's doing it on a whole different level. RG3 was, I think we say it was his legs, which he had some good throws, but you had the you had the RPO with Alfred Morris. Oh man, I'm really digging that.
Alfred Morris.
But yeah, Jaden Daniels legit. And can I go and tell the world where I have him at in the rankings?
QB2.
Yeah.
QB2.
Only behind Josh Allen.
Fair. Yeah. I have him at 3. So we're pretty close.
But I think you have him at 3rd, but I think I don't know, man. I think I could talk you into 2.
You probably could. I
figure I think your gut check's telling you to.
I have him in 1 league. 1. That's it.
Yeah, but we gotta let our love of our teams set aside when we're talking about this.
No, that's true.
I do have him right now, Chalmers.
I have him in 1 league.
Gun to your head in a startup. Are you going? Let's say it's 1.6. It ain't even go that far in a Superflex league. 1.3 or 1.2 even. Who are you taking? You going to take Jaden Daniels to start up your team, or are you going to take Lamar Jackson?
I'm taking Lamar
Oh,
right now.
man. Well,
I'm
I'm going to
taking
capitalize on your mistake, and hopefully I'm sitting right behind you because I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
I'm taking Lamar.
All
So
right.
as we follow into this game, was it just an off game for Kyler? Because I think Kyler's had a pretty fun season to start. I'm a big fan of Kyler Murray. I am. I think Kyler Murray is a great QB, and I like the situation that he's put in. No Trey McBride. We get that concussion protocol. But Washington just steamrolled them.
Dude, Chalmers, we're agreeing way too much on this, man. I'm a Murray truther too, but he has had, he shined, but he's also had 2 games of just what are we going to get consistency wise? Are we going to get it? When's it going to come together? New offense though, man. There's a lot of things to point at. We can make excuses all day, but there's legit excuses. There's excuses to cover the bad, or there's legit excuses like, yeah, that's the reason. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
like I said, I'm with you. Kyler's a QB1. That's somebody I'm moving Pat Mahomes for if I can get Boot on top of it. I
You
would rather
can.
have Kyler Murray than Pat Mahomes. And how awesome would it be to swap them and get Boot?
Speaking of Pat Mahomes, the last game in the 4 o'clock slate we're going to talk about. So, if his name wasn't Pat Mahomes, he wasn't a 3-time Super Bowl champion, he wasn't a multiple-time MVP, he wasn't a Super Bowl MVP. I think his name holds value, and I don't think his name should hold value based off his fantasy play.
Yep, I agree completely, 100%. You know where I stand. I'm with you. Like
And
he gives you that ceiling, or no, he gives you that floor. But ever since he lost Tyreek Hill, man, he ain't been the same quarterback. You don't have we was talking about it earlier, the show on turf. It ain't turf, but let's say you don't have the show on Arrowhead like you had before. He more manages it. Like he, you bet you're going to get probably you're good between 15 and 24 points or something like that. You
I
ain't
want to
getting
say
retro
this.
Mahomes.
That Xavier Worthy touchdown this week was the first touchdown he's had over 50 yards in 2 years.
Dude, ain't that insane? But it's Worthy. I mean, that's what Worthy brings you, that hope of Tyreek. Which,
So,
while we're at it, I'm completely buy Worthy now. If you're even thinking that there's a chance you could do it, you better be doing it right now. Even if you have to overpay. What is it? Rich from the Nerds. Or is it Garrett Price? I can't remember which one it was. An overpay today is an underpay tomorrow. Dude, that's Worthy. Let's talk about. Can we talk about Worthy for a second? Since
sure,
we're on him,
I like
like,
Worthy.
yeah. Like, I think he's going to come along like Rashee Rice did, but I think he's going to come on sooner because he has already. Actually, it's pretty similar, but they're different guys. Like, you got more of the Tyreek, the cheetah element obviously to Worthy, but man, what if they start giving him? I don't know. Are they going to give him that short game role like they? I don't think so. You're going to get Kelsey getting that, but your big play is going to be Worthy.
I
I mean,
think now,
I'm not going to say it's going to be Juju.
no. I think now with the draft capital invested, you have to step up. You were that guy for us. We traded up to get you. You are that guy. You need to produce now. You are in a role where you have to produce.
Chalmers, I'm 100% confident he will.
I am too. But behind you, we have Juju Smith-Schuster and Justin Watson. We don't have much now.
Right.
So it scares me a little bit.
Yeah, well, they also have Hardman too. But I mean, I know it's Hardman, McCall Hardman.
It's Nicole.
And I don't know. I think they got the money. They could figure something. They ain't gonna get no game changer in there though. You ain't gonna replace Rashee Rice unless it's with like Worthy, and he's not gonna do it the same way.
Agreed.
So,
but yeah, I do believe Pat Mahomes' value is inflated. I will say I think the Dynasty community is going to adjust to this.
they are.
I have been out on Pat Mahomes. We've had over the last 2 years, it's been 5% of his starts. He's been a top 10 quarterback. That's not acceptable.
Me as well. I'm right there. Chalmers, we're almost like the same guy. Like we might have the same mom, man. Like our brains are just. It ain't good for a podcast to have this many agreements. I'd say. And it's my first one, but I've listened to enough to know that we're agreeing way too much. But dude, it's facts. It's right there in our faces. I think a
It
good
is.
football mind will recognize stuff like this.
It is.
But a
So
good football mind's wrong too sometimes.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely wrong, 100%.
Yeah.
But
we
as
try to decrease that.
yeah, we try to. So, lastly, I want to jump into the Sunday night game. There's not much I can say about this other than the fact that the Ravens went in and dominated the football game.
Dude, what else can you say? Derrick Henry was a stud. Dude, they played Tennessee Titans football. They gave Buffalo Tennessee is what they did. That's what happened.
They did.
That was Mike Vrabel's script with Henry, and Harbaugh wrote it. I mean, but why would you not? I mean, Buffalo just did this a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. Only this time it was Baltimore surprising everybody, going in there and jaw jacking the crap out of Buffalo. Had our mouths dropped.
Yeah, this was the team that the Baltimore Ravens were supposed to be.
It was. It's also the team that told the world. That's the reason I was disagreeing with Boy a second ago. But that's no, their defense. And no, Josh Allen's not the MVP right now. Nope. Because you can't call yourself an MVP and have a game like that. Now he can bounce back from it and be the MVP. I get it. But yeah. I just after what Baltimore did, man, they should have made some more proper adjustments, but their defense wouldn't let them.
No,
I mean the clock was against them.
They were stellar.
Also, I know Kincaid had a decent game, but dude, I feel like this is the game that he should have blown up, man. The game script was there, the narrative. Dude, this wide receiver won by committee in Buffalo, man. I don't like it. You know, Shakir's performing and all this, and I got a lot of share in Kincaid, but I'm not liking it at all, man. Like I think we discussed this last week. I got Hawk over Kincaid. I really do. Like it's gonna be hard to talk me off of that. I know it's bold, but it's hot.
That's fair. And I'm also a big Kincaid guy. I do know that in a Joe Brady type offense, I do know that the ball is going through the running backs first, and then we're gonna adjust from there. We're gonna throw when we need to. I really like the way that they're playing offense, but unfortunately, there's not a singular guy that we can pinpoint and say this is the guy for the Buffalo Bills outside of Josh Allen and James Cook.
I had someone ask me earlier, what am I doing with Keon Coleman? Because he was going to sell him. He asked, okay, here's the trade he asked me. And this guy's very knowledgeable, man. Like, it's somebody, it'd be cool if you hooked up with too, maybe. But anyways, he said, do I trade Keon Coleman for Chase Brown? I think there was somebody else in the deal maybe, but I'm like, I'm not doing it. Not dynasty-wise. I'm holding on to Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman was my biggest avoid of the draft.
Mine too, Chalmers. It really was. I was out on him. You know, he like people want to call him a separator and a contested ball catch. Dude, he was awful at contested ball catches. Like the narrative that people. Okay, and I have something. I don't know if you heard or not. Do you know why they drafted him, Keon Coleman?
He beats me.
Josh Allen requested them to take Keon Coleman. Dang. Over everybody that was available right there, he handpicked Keon Coleman.
Hey. I watched CJ Stroud draft Tank Dell. I'm cool with that.
No doubt. But come on, we're going to talk go back to draft night or whatever, dude. They gave Kansas City Xavier Worthy.
They did.
Which was it was a surprise. But when they did that, and then, I mean, it answered all the questions like, why? Keon Coleman was definitely your guy. You wouldn't have done that. But it makes more sense now if you have Josh Allen, which is the captain, the leader, your MVP savior dude. Definitely the best quarterback in football. I mean, I think he is. Like, even if I say he ain't the MVP right now, so what? I'm saying he's the best. He's the best quarterback in football. There's nobody going to take his place right now, anyways. Like, definitely the 1.1.
I agree on that.
So if you want to call it MVP, have at it.
So. And lastly, just to say this about Keon Coleman, no, I don't have him in any leagues. Never. And he's on my Dynasty rookie stock market article a lot. The separation thing's always been an issue for me. I know he's an athlete to the degree of the ability to go up and play the 50-50 ball at the times, but we're talking about a guy who was a 4'6", 40, and he just never stood out to me as a guy. To me, he was never a guy.
Dude, you got it right there. That's what I'm thinking in my head. A jag. Like, what's it take for a jag to become a stud? Dude, that's the uphill battle you're with Keon Coleman, and they're talking about bringing him up slow and all that. Man, that just tells me there's a problem there.
Yeah. So last game, Monday night, and we want to discuss this. This was a fun game. Detroit, Seattle.
Dude, did you know They didn't even give Goff. There's 2 game balls gave out, and not one went to Jared Goff. And he set the NFL record. You've heard this, ain't you? He set the
Yes.
record. He went 18 for 18. He was perfect. Man, 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, or a receiving touchdown. And do you know whose record he broke?
Wasn't it Drew Brees?
Nope. Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner,
Was
18 for
Kurt
18. Wasn't
Kurt
Drew
Warner
like
was Kurt Warner was 12 for 12. Now let's think about the magnitude of how much better Goff was now. I mean, that's a
it
big
was a great
difference.
game. It was a great game.
Them 6 extra passes, that's big, man. Completing 6 out of 6 extra passes more than what
Yeah.
Kurt Warner did to break his record.
No, Breeze was 11 for 11. He was close. He never. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
But anyway, I want to first say welcome back, Ken Walker.
oh
What a
boy,
hell of a
yeah.
game. What a hell
Now,
of a game.
he's somebody I can toot my horn about too, because I've argued with people all season. I had him no lower than running back 7 already. And I've took so much heat over that Chalmers, like it's insane. But dude, I think it's justified, and he proved why.
Yeah. He was always that guy in Michigan State. Elite contact balance, elite burst. That guy who, like I said, not much on the receiving profile, but he just offered just pure skill set for a running back position. He showed it off last night. And on this note, he's on pace for over 60 catches this season. He's playing lights out ball. Lights out.
Why does people not recognize him as a big play running back that he is, man? He's a home run ball. You know, like
I think it's the injury history.
Yeah, it has to be. It's like, speaking of this, you got these people crying Charbonnet, SCN. Dude, no. The eye test shows you all you need to know, man. Like,
I've never been a sharp guy.
No, I ain't either. And he did play all right, but he still wasn't pretty doing it, man.
No, I hate the way he runs. I hate how he runs up tight. I hate it.
Dude, yeah. He don't lower at all, man. Dude, Walker is 100% the guy there. Dude, buy Walker if you can get him. I feel so good. Dude, I was going to start up. I got him in the 8th round in one league. That's how far the hate went with him.
It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
Yeah, it was. I was like, guys, you all really just let me. It was like the 7.13, I think, of a 14-team league. A 14-team league, and he's sitting there going into 8th round. I was like, guys, I don't know how you let me have Walker. And I had other targets I was wanting to get instead. But at what point do you ignore your rankings?
Right.
Or stop ignoring them.
So, also, too, welcome back to wide receiver 1 territory, DK Metcalf.
No doubt. Like
the Ryan Grubb offense has suited him well, and DK looks like that guy.
Dude, he's a big that Pete Carroll,
the guy that Pete Carroll can never unlock. He couldn't.
Or control temper.
I think the best we got for DK under a Pete Carroll offense was his second year at wide receiver 7, and that's it. But we're pushing DK's on the verge of pushing a top 5 season if he keeps playing and he gets some of the positive touchdown regression.
You're exactly right. And JSN's having room to bloom in this also.
Yes, that's what I want to talk about. Another 12-target game for JSN, a huge target volume game. I think when Tyler Lockett is officially done as a Seattle Seahawk, I think he's going to absolutely shine.
Yeah, me too. I completely agree. Like, Lockett is his floodgate right now because Lockett's still getting. Dude, they all did good. You can't talk bad about none of the receivers for Seattle. Dude, what about the receiver on the other side? I'm sure he's getting there, but we've already covered. We talked about Goff, but dude, how are we not going to talk about J-Mo, man?
Yeah, the thing that's another one I wanted to talk about.
You going to Deshaun Watson narrative me here?
No.
But you wouldn't be wrong, though.
I do like J-Mo. Big fan of J-Mo.
And that was the beautiful thing about drafting or acquiring him in leagues, J-Mo, dude, because I was on that train, the other knowledgeable guy I was telling you about earlier. But anyway, we was both J-Mo, and I was the one that tooted him into being a J-Mo believer before J-Mo broke out. Dude, J-Mo possesses top 10 wide receiver talent. Maybe if more. Dude, this guy, his talent's out the roof. And he's had a lot that's held him back his career up to this point. Like, people don't realize, dude, he ain't injury prone. He's had some injuries, yeah. But then you got the gambling problem, and you have, dude, and, they're not going to throw him out there like the coach, dude, there's no way. He wasn't going to throw him out there without knowing the system, or he's grown to have a good little relationship with Williams going on now.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they complement each other well. You have Amon St. Brown playing his game. You have Sam Laporta playing his game. You have your field stretcher here. But the biggest thing about the Detroit Lions to me is the 1-2 in the running back room. The 1-2 running back combination: Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. They're both running back ones,
I knew
week
you
in
were
and
going to
week
say this.
out, and they're so consistent. I
And they're
love how
both doing it.
they're doing it.
Dude,
That
Montgomery's looking good, dude. I thought this would be more of the scale back year for him. Like I was wrong about Montgomery, dude. Because dude, Montgomery looks
that run
good.
that run he had
Yes.
that run he had where he hit that DB, put him on his back, and then goes 35 yards plus. It was beautiful, beautiful,
All right.
beautiful.
Well, which run do you like? Do you like his or Walker's better?
I like Walker's better.
Dude, that was oh my
It was
gosh, man!
sweet.
I jumped off my couch about to pass out and everything. Like woo.
You know, what I mean, we got Amon St. Brown throwing touchdown passes. We got him catching
Yeah.
touchdown passes. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, who people said he couldn't score inside the 5. He scored twice inside the 5 on Monday night. Crazy
Yep.
game, man.
Dude,
Fun offense to
Chalmers,
watch.
what feels better than a guy that you're a truther for and you beat your drum for all offseason and people hate on you about? But dude, what's better than seeing them explode and show off their talents and what you thought that
It's great.
is like the call your shot hits feel good, especially when you
Yeah,
see it happen. And
it's
that's a
great.
good example. J-Mo's a good example of that for me. He was a my guy. Another my guy was Walker. And I get them wrong too, but man, them kind of guys, them kind of hits for the boldness that you talk against the community about, and they don't want to come back to you and acknowledge it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But so lastly, the last thing about this offense, man, overall, I just love to point out the fact of how explosive they are, but how young they are.
Yeah. Oh yes, man. Dude, they're locked in.
They're locked in.
It's not only young; they're young and locked in,
They
and
are
they ain't done. Like
not
this
even close.
is, yeah, man. Great stuff.
Yeah. So that's going to cover this. We're going to jump into the Thursday night preview. We got the Bucks and we got the Falcons. We're in the dirty South. We're in Atlanta on a Thursday night game. Only injury notary that I have is Bijan with an ankle injury possible, but he said he's playing.
Yeah, he said he's playing. He said it's nothing more than dink and dings or scratches and dings or something's what he said.
Right.
But it's
So
gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be a fun one, Charmer. I'm
it
sure you're
is.
planning. Yeah. Okay.
It is. And I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy. I honestly think that he was done very dirty in Cleveland. I love the career resurgence. Big Baker Mayfield guy, so congratulations to him. I'm a
Baker falls
big
in the
fan.
line. All the guys we've been talking about, Darnold and
Yeah.
Young, just in an organization that ain't capable of having a quarterback.
The biggest thing for me too is I still don't think Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts. Kirk Cousins is 100% healthy. I have not liked what I've seen from Kirk Cousins. He doesn't seem to be driving the ball off his back foot at all. It really scares me. This offense is being held back a little bit. It has.
But it's going to take time. And here's the thing with Cousins. Cousins ain't giving us the Cousins that we know. He hasn't threw for 300 yards in one ball game yet. Dude, that's not Kirk Cousins because that's what he done.
Not. It's not at all.
Yeah. But keep going. But he's winning ball games. That's what the NFL cares about.
They
And
are winning ball.
I think it's going to come along for him. Dude, I'm in a super flex redraft, and I've been trying to get Cousins. I'm trying to move Deshaun Watson for him, and I'm giving boot, but I can't get him.
Last player I want to talk about, Bucky Irving.
Well, okay, I think we should hurry up. I don't know if we can fit time in for it or not, but what about Drake London?
I do like Drake London.
Dude, I don't like Drake London.
You
But
don't
I
like
do
Drake
now.
London.
But I do now.
I do
Dude,
like Drake London.
his targets have grown each week. That's what we want in a number one wide receiver. He solidified himself as the alpha one in that offense already. And each week, like I said, he had 12 targets this week. I think week one, don't quote me on this, I think it was 6. Then it was each week his targets have grown.
4.
4. All right.
4 in
It's
week
worse
1.
then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But his target share has grown each week. And I think that's the Cousins and him. Wait till these guys all start clicking. Oh, and I want to talk about somebody else. How about another Jag? Just a guy. Dude, how horrible and awful is Kyle Pitts?
It's been bad.
Dude, I want out of all Pitts shares. That's how bad it is. No. Chalmers, you can try to take up with the guy. He's looked slow.
No.
He's not giving effort. If you watch his tape, he's given up on so many plays. But Dude, he's not separating at all. No separation.
I agree with you, but I bought Kyle Pitts for the sole hopeful fact that this was the turnaround year, and it's bit me in the ass. I can't sell Kyle Pitts. I have
Chalmers,
Kyle Pitts in 3 leagues. I can't sell him.
can I be rude to you, Chalmer?
Sure,
Man, you messed up. No,
I
man.
did.
I acquired him somewhere too in a double tight end league, and boy, do I regret that trade. But yeah, you can believe in him or have hope, but dude, it's gone for me. Like he's shown me all I need to know. I mean, I would rather play Cade Otton over him right now, and that's no joke. That's no joke. But
Fair enough.
because hey, Otton's one of them guys we better be watching too while we're on this game. Dude, his
I
targets are
do like
growing each
Cade.
week. He's bringing himself to relevancy because Mayfield's targeting. I mean, okay,
Yeah,
talk about the last guy you want to talk to. I'll see
the
if I
last
can.
player. Yeah, the last player I really wanted to dig into was Bucky Irving. We all know Rashad
Oh,
White. We all know Rashad White was a volume-based guy, and the efficiency wasn't there. Bucky
but he was
came in to be a
efficient.
backup,
He was
and
efficient
Bucky's
last week
taking a
though.
role. Bucky's taking on a very
Yes,
solid
yes,
role.
dude. And here's the thing: like I didn't know, I wasn't aware. Did you know he had 3 carries inside the 5 yard line last week? Bucky did.
Hmm.
And you know, White's supposed to be your pass catcher. He only received, I think he had 2 catches last week, dude.
Yeah, yeah, but
Like
he
it's
was
so in
on.
a
He
mixed
did have a
field.
run. He did
It's
have a
so
run.
yeah, that's true too. But at the same time, man, like they're both. I think they're both gonna be fine. But
Yeah,
I think I can see Bucky taking a firm grip of this. He's the
me
more
too.
efficient, the better runner, the eye test. And
Me too.
Rashad White was my number one. No, Rashad White was my number 2 regression candidate going to this season. You want to hear my number 1 real quick?
Shoot.
Sam Laporta. I mean,
Fair
how
enough.
he on his plate, Laporta was dealt with having to have a Gronk 2 season because Gronk did it his rookie year and his second year. Dude, there's a lot that has to happen to go right for that to happen.
Yes.
But yeah, Bucky, man,
So
buy Bucky all day.
overall, we got a 1.5 spread game here in Atlanta in the Dirty South. You taking the Bucks or you taking the Falcons?
Gosh, I don't know why I hadn't even thought about that. Give me in Atlanta. Oh gosh, the way Baker's been playing, that defense. This is. Give me the Bucks. I want to say Atlanta, but give me the Bucks.
I'm
The way
also
Baker's playing and the way they're clicking, you don't have to worry about the receivers. You know, you got this run game working and clicking. You got Otton emerging. Uh, I don't know, man. This is a tough one. It really is. I'm
I'm
interested to
also
see what you have to say.
I'm also taking Tampa Bay.
See, and that's the thing. We're also talking about they're at Atlanta, and we're both taking Tampa Bay. Like, but I'm with you. I think Tampa Bay has so much going for them right now. You know, I, I don't see Atlanta stopping the pass game. I mean, I know it's Baker, but Baker's value's perceived still. They're still looking at him like he ain't who he is right now. How he's playing. Baker's
Yeah, I gotta
balling,
go.
man.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Bucks here for sure.
Yeah,
I'm a big
I'm
fan
with
of
you.
what they're doing.
I'm
Big
with
fan
you,
of what they're doing.
and I can see a pretty high scoring game here too.
Yeah, so could I.
I don't know, man. Like it's more the thing. Does Cousins come out and have that 300-yard game we're talking about as
He
each week
could.
comes?
He could. He could.
But
And he could. He buried the primetime narrative. He went in and handled the Eagles. They gave
yep,
him a situation to shine. Congratulations. That was a great series
you're
there.
right. Congratulations,
And
sir.
I just think I just think Tampa Bay is cooking up something special, man. I like Tampa Bay.
Look, I agree. But my question about Kirk is like what you said. How are you going? How's your moving around going to be? Are you taking steps? Are you getting faster each week? Is your mobility better? Because that's a big part of Kirk's game.
It is.
That
It
mobility,
is.
man. Like we don't know him as a runner, but he sure runs out of that pocket and he moves. His footwork is
It
amazing. But you can tell a big
is.
difference in his footwork too if you watch his tape.
Very big difference. So that's going to do it for us, our Thursday night
Oh
game.
man.
Guys, congratulations. We are
Woo.
entering week 5. The
Yes,
NFL
sir.
season always flies by.
It
Always flies.
does.
I hate
Dude,
it.
Chalmers, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I love the fact I'm
Absolutely.
actually on here. I've always wanted to do a podcast, dude. I love this. I mean,
Absolutely.
Like I said, I want to bring success to your team. I want to make whatever brand you have grow. I already love the Dynasty Football Factory, and like I said, I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, buddy.
And my goal is to bring can't beat winning advice, even spice advice. I get a little hot sometimes, but Chalmers, I love it, man. This opportunity, I feel like this is for me.
So I just want to tell you, me and Ryan typically discuss this at the end of the podcast. I just want to, how many people do you think are watching our podcast right now?
70. I don't know. I'm going on a limb. I have no idea.
So there's 265 people sitting with us live right now. So it's been a really good night, man. Hour and a half. I haven't done a podcast in 2 weeks. So it's been a lot of fun, man. DFF boys, thank you as always for jumping in and asking questions.
Thank you all. Hey, I appreciate the watch, guys. Like, I love y'all football community. This is us. Like, I love the football factory. I'm sure, Chalmers, you'll tell me you love them, won't you?
Absolutely. I love these guys. They told us to take over the YouTube, and we're trying to absolutely change the game here over the Dynasty Football Factory. As always, next week.
We're not talking out of our booty holes either, man. We have advice that's knowledgeable. We have stats to support everything. Like, we're the same as you people, but we live for this. Chalmers,
yes.
Go ahead and conclude, brother. I'm sorry. Thanks, everybody.
No, you're good, buddy. So as I like to say, guys, it's been a blast. I'm so happy to be back. It's been 2 weeks. Ryan will be back next week. Like I said, congratulations to you, buddy, man. Bachelor party, moving into your new place. So proud of you. Next week, week 5 recap, which we'll jump into a start sit on Saturday night is my 8 to 4 weeks. So we do our start sits going into our Sunday to games. Other than that, always remember one thing, like we like to say over here, always be building. That is our motto. And on that note, guys, we are out.
See you guys. Thanks for the view.